This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Here we go! Kiss me like a love song. So that mama call me. Boogie Wonderland. Yo tengo sus noches y su pasión. Stand by now. Solo sube
You're listening to the Emerald FlowShow on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
Welcome to the 20th episode of the Emerald FlowShow. We're a podcast on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. You can follow us on Twitter at Emerald FlowShow, and you can go to voicesofwrestling.com/donate to donate to the show, and any donations would be greatly appreciated. I'm Gerard DeTroyo, and I'm here with Paul Vosch. Paul, we made it to 20 episodes.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think, Gerard, there's a very important question that I have to ask you right away at the beginning of the show. Gerard,
What is it, Paul?
do you know what Status is?
I believe it is a marketing, full-service marketing company for all your needs.
Oh, really? That's great. That's the thing. Okay, so to the people that haven't watched the Budokan show on the TV feed, that ad basically ran like 5,000 times, and for some reason it was completely in English, which is even more baffling.
I think Suwama was like screaming stuff in Japanese in the commercial.
Yeah, and I mean Ishikawa was there too. Like, yeah, it was very bizarre. But it was definitely, I don't know, it was definitely entertaining. Let's put it that way.
Well, I guess we can start with that because I think you were watching it live, Paul, through some very legitimate means. As
Yes,
was I.
very legitimate means.
What did you think of the sort of television presentation, versus what, watching it on ajpw.tv later?
I would say, I mean, it definitely came across like a little bit more like high quality, just from like having that TV presence. But it was also kind of annoying, like where they put some of those commercial breaks, because they were actually like commercial breaks, like within matches as well.
Right.
Which I definitely do not like. Because they also didn't wrestle because on American TV or whatever, like they do like not take like breaks in the match, but it's very clear whenever the match is like within commercial break. Whereas obviously like all Japan wrestlers don't do that. Like they just wrestle a normal match, even if there's no one actually watching it, except for the people there.
None of those referees had an earpiece.
No, yeah, exactly. Like, so they just basically were like, yeah, we're just gonna wrestle, and yeah, I'm actually happy that they didn't accidentally cut to a commercial break like during the finish.
Yeah, and so the main event got cut off because I was like, "There's no way they're gonna." I figured it very early on. There's no way that they were gonna fit it in the remaining matches. It was almost half the show left in 2 hours. But I mean, through I think the means that we all may have watched on, did not have access to the channel. Like it switched over, and it's had like you switch over to BS 142, and then there was like instructions on the screen and everything. So it's not ideal, but I think people think that maybe it was a disaster because it just went off the air. It did not actually go off the air. So I saw people on like in Japan on Twitter posting like pictures of Kento posing with like Kobashi and Hansen on their TVs after the main event and everything like that. So people got to watch it in Japan, at least.
Still kind of bizarre. Like, never really noticed like was there actually instructions on the TV before they took the main off?
There were, yeah.
Okay. So people probably just, in that case, could just switch over on their little remote there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but still, it's a bit of a bizarre decision. Like, I obviously we're never really gonna get like any like ratings information, but I actually would be kind of curious what it did.
Yeah, for sure. I did appreciate, though, the television presentation because you had access to the classic clips. The show started with, like, you know, graphics in sort of the old style, the NTV sports theme, and then there were, like, clips of, like, the Funks versus Abdullah the Butcher and the Sheik, Baba beating Jack Briscoe for the NWA title, and then Jumbo beating Nick Bockwinkel for the AWA title. So I thought stuff like that was a nice touch.
Yeah, no, that one was definitely very cool. Definitely felt like, I mean, it was like a very big anniversary, and it did kind of like that kind of help feel like it a bit more. Where it
certainly
was
more so than on the like All Japan TV broadcast.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Because the All Japan TV broadcast, it was just like a normal All Japan show, basically. Because I think really like the show itself didn't really feel like a big anniversary show overall.
Not totally, but I mean, well, we'll get into like some of the guests in that as we go on. But I thought the set was perfectly fine for like a size of the company that All Japan is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not gonna expect like a Noah stage for like All Japan. Like, they just don't have that kind of money. So yeah, maybe I would have liked like something a little bit more spectacular. But again, I'm like, I have to be realistic here about the actual like capabilities of the company for that kind of stuff.
And then so we actually go on to the show itself, drawing 4,780 fans. Paul, what did you think when you saw that number?
Well, my first thought was, how much of that is paid?
Well, I think somebody paid for all of the tickets, but I think that certain people may have bought in large blocks of them.
Yeah, I can definitely
or companies,
see that
I
as
should
well.
say.
Yeah. And I mean, even I was also thinking as well again, yeah, how much of like not paid would it probably even be, because it's not like they could really distribute like tickets the day of.
No,
because of the monsoon
weather. Yeah.
So like, even if I get a free ticket, like I probably wouldn't have like, if I'm not a big fan, then I probably wouldn't have gone. And it was really, because don't think people really realize, I don't know how much people would know that, but there was a massive monsoon going on in Japan on that day. Like massive, like even big by like Japan standards.
And on Monday it was raining too.
Yeah.
Or the next day.
Yeah. So like taking that into account, like that number is actually pretty good.
Yep. I thought if it wasn't raining, they could have hit 5.
Yeah, probably, because they would have had walk up, which obviously now they didn't.
Yeah.
Because no one's like walking through a monsoon just randomly next to the Budokan and it's like, oh, you know what? I think I'll go to this All Japan show. I don't have anything better to do. So,
but
yeah.
I think between this attendance and whatever they got for going on NTV, I think they probably made some money on this show.
Probably. I mean, it did have some like, I wonder how much some of those like older guys cost.
That's
that they
true.
Put in at 6-man tag, because I think even in 2022, Onita doesn't come cheap.
No, but
I
how
mean,
much does
then again,
Misao Inoue charge? Like,
true, yeah. I mean, then
Koshina.
again, I say Onita doesn't come cheap, but then like promotions like GCW and even like lower indies like that in US book them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely say overall, like I think definitely with the like BSNTV deal, I would definitely say they made some money on that.
Yeah, well, they certainly didn't lose any, I don't think.
Yeah. And maybe, you know, if the ratings for that were decent, like, I mean, maybe that's our way to figure out if they actually got good ratings, is if they do more stuff with them in the future.
For sure. And they had all the different sponsors, like, you know, Status was all over the show, and then Rakuten was the sponsor of the show. And
yeah. I mean, that's one of the
ATM.
things where I just don't know enough about the advertising landscape in Japan.
Yeah.
But at least, like, in Europe, generally speaking, if you constantly get the same, like, handful of spots over and over and over and over and over again, and there's nothing else, that generally is not a good sign for ad buys.
For sure.
Because you just had to sell the same blocks to like the same company. Because I remember watching the Super Bowl on TV like a couple of years back, and obviously here the Super Bowl like airs at night, so it doesn't exactly get like the best ads, especially not compared to the US. And there were definitely like, I think there was a ad for like a dating site, I think, that just repeated like multiple times within the same ad block and was there at least once in like every ad block. And it's the Super Bowl, so there were a lot of ad blocks. It was actually like driving me insane when this like dating service app came up like 5 more times at like 5 a.m. and I just want to go to bed and I want the game to be over. And so again, but that's because you can't really get like good ad sales at 5 in the morning, even if you're the Super Bowl. So I'm wondering, and this obviously wasn't at 5 in the morning Japan time, and the fact that they had kind of a similar ad structure definitely did not seem like a good sign. But I also don't know enough about Japanese TV ad structure, so maybe that's normal.
Yeah, and it's not on like over the air. It's like broadcast satellite.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. But so once we get into the show, finally, Paul, evolution actually exists.
Yeah.
Schrodinger's Joshi promotion is in fact real. So to kick off the show, Shuji Ishikawa brought out the 5 trainees. We've got Zones, Sunny, Rin Hoshino, Atsu Mizuharu, and Chi-Chi. Paul, I'm a big Zones fan already.
Yeah, I was about to say, Gerard, you said a bunch of names there, but there's only one that matters, and that's Zones.
Oh, definitely. It's all about Zones.
Yeah, no, I think they look good. I mean, it's really hard to say, like, they haven't wrestled or anything. Have they even announced a show?
No. We don't even know how far along in their training they are.
So, I mean, at least we know they're real.
Well, yes. I mean, I was very skeptical of this project, mainly because of how long that Suwama was talking about it and nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt like Schrodinger's evolution, basically.
Yeah, or like the boy who cried Joshi promotion. But, like, to their credit, they got it done. They've got a good crop of trainees, you know, like, they all have personalities already, like, that are out there. So I think there's something to work with. I really do. And I am far more excited than I was, like, a week before the show.
Yeah.
When it was noticed, brought up to me by friend of the show, Velki Bracha, told me that, hey, all of these Evolution Twitter accounts have been created.
Yeah, that was a very clear tip-off that something was going to happen there, yeah.
So, and then I was just like, oh, well, probably something's happening at the Budokan, and it did. So we'll have to see, right?
Yeah, I mean, but definitely if there's any, like, easy way for us to watch whenever the debut shows, I think we're definitely going to, like, cover it on here. We're just going to, like,
for sure,
blatantly just, like, muscle into the territory of the Jumping Bomb Angels, so...
Jumping Bomb Audio.
Jumping Bomb Audio, yeah, sorry. It's 7 a.m.
Well, yeah, and I should probably clarify a few things. Evolution is not the All Japan's women's division. It is its own separate company. And as far as I can tell, it is not owned by All Japan. It is, quote unquote, the producers are Suwama and Shuji Ishikawa. But it seems to me that our friend Status seems to be playing a major role in getting this company off the ground.
Oh, so that's why they were in the ad.
Yes.
I was wondering about that.
Sounds like a Status project.
Okay,
and
now
I think
that
they
all
probably
makes a lot more sense.
I think they probably see something like a marketing thing with the Joshi and the Idol stuff. Is my suspicion on like Status' interest in this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because of what I was kind of hoping for is that maybe they were going to be on All Japan TV as well, but with that,
they may be, but we don't know.
I mean, I would probably guess that in that case they probably want to like get their own streaming service, so it's probably going to be more like a New Japan and Stardom kind of situation rather than like a Wrestle Universe situation. That's true.
Or even, but do you think they just start with pay-per-views?
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, that they're just going to do.
Because they don't have any library unless they're on All Japan TV or anything, Right?
Yeah, so they might do like Nico shows or like Twit casting or one of the other like 1 billion different weird streaming services.
Stardom uses something too, right? It's not through Stardom World, the pay-per-views, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what they're using. But it's again like Stardom only does like live shows like once every blue moon, so.
Yeah. Well, they do a lot of pay-per-views.
Okay.
So I would assume that though they will be on All Japan shows at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
introduce them.
Yeah, you can't really like start something off on like pay-per-view. Like I think you have to like give people something for free first before they're like willing to actually like tune in.
Yeah. Like a preview exhibition match that's like 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like something, and then it's like, oh yeah, here that's when our debut show is.
Yeah, because that's what Dragon Gate does with their rookies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go on to the show itself. First match, Rising Hayato and Ryo Inoue defeated Yusuke Kodama and Oji Shiba in 4 minutes and 18 seconds with a Shimanami driver from Hayato on Shiba. I don't say this much for some matches on the show, but this could have used a couple of more minutes, I think. But it was pretty good for what it was.
Yeah, it was fine. Really was just about like establishing Hayato. But yeah, no, this definitely, I mean, weirdly, I would say this was actually one of the better matches on the show, which is a little bit depressing.
Technically, yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think it very easily would have been if they had gotten like, I don't know, like if it had been twice as long. And in that case, it only would have been 8 minutes.
Well, from my understanding, talking to someone who was in the building, there was like a 25-minute intermission or something because they stopped everything and then waited till it became 7 o'clock to go live.
So it was basically just a dark match that just happened to air.
No, so they could have given probably a couple more minutes to some of these matches. But they didn't.
Okay. Oh, no, I get what you mean. Yeah, it doesn't make sense why like they were so short when they just took a break for 25 minutes.
So it was about that. It was like more than 15, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
So next up, and this was a good length, Yoshitatsu Tajiri, Mitsuya Nagai, and ATM defeated Izanagi, Black Mansoure, Sushi, and Andy Wu when Nagai used a stretch plum on Sushi. A nice little nod to Kawada from Nagai as they actually were tag partners in All Japan back around in 2001, 2002.
Yeah. Not really all that much to say about this one, but yeah, as I said, this was kind of like
bad. It wasn't anything.
It was the ideal length where it was just like everyone got in, like there were like so many people in there that like everyone basically just did their signature spots and then they got out of there and that was it. And
in the match that everybody was waiting for, in the Saito brothers triumphant return match, Jun Saito, Rei Saito, and Cyrus defeated Shuji Ishikawa, Kohei Sato, and Yukio Naya in 7 minutes and 38 seconds when Rei used a body press on Ishikawa. Now, Shuji, what a company guy. Ren Ayabe is unable to be at the show. Unfortunately, poor Ayabe was still in the hospital when the show was on. He tweeted out him watching it on TV. So I hope he's out of the hospital by now or is getting out soon. But with that happening and probably the Naya from DDT unable to do a job, he stepped up. And Sato definitely not doing a job. Shuji stepped up and put over Rei Saito, which is huge, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Been to former Triple Crown champion.
Yeah. No, it was really big. What do you think about the new looks for the Saito brothers?
I think they're not bad. Not like incredible, but they certainly give him more personality than they had before.
Yeah, I think Rei Saito really found his like charisma while he was in the US.
Well, see, I used to think Jun was like, this guy could be a singles, but now I think it's Rei.
Oh, yeah, no, very easily. Jun to me is, I don't know, kind of useless. Like, I think also, like, both in-ring wise, I don't think they're really good. But if, like, just watching, like, the two of them do their spots, like, Rei just has, like, a different level of intensity than Jun. Like, Jun very much still looks, like, hesitant to actually, like, use his size, whereas I think Rei is, like, a little bit more actually willing to do that.
I mean, I like this match for what it was. I mean, it was 7.5 minutes, and it was just the big guys running into each other. You can't really screw that up.
Yeah, no, but I mean, also, like, from, like, the matches we've seen, like, the since then, like, the spoiler alert, the tag title match and all of that. But, yeah, I think in this one, not much for, like, people to screw up, but I would still say that, like, don't think the Saitos are ever gonna be like world beaters. They have definitely improved, but it still looks like very awkward at times.
And next up, we had the All Asia Tag Team title match. Hikaru Sato and Dan Tamura defeated Minoru and Toshizo of Voodoo Murders in 14 minutes and 22 seconds when Dan used a Death Valley bomb on Toshizo. So they won. And, I mean, I thought this was a really nice moment for Dan finally winning a title, and he looked ecstatic.
Yeah, that was really my favorite part of it as well. But, like, finally for Dan, he gets a big win. He gets a title win. And they kind of paid off that whole Voodoo Murderers torturing Dan Tamura story by him winning the title here. So I think that was actually one of the better and more coherent stories that like All Japan has told in the lead up to this whole show.
Definitely. But I mean, as for the match itself, I thought this was like 3.25 stars. It was perfectly competently wrestled, but I feel like for what this feud was, the intensity wasn't there. Yeah,
that's the only weird part where, because they just wrote back the Voodoo Murderer stuff, like I think that actually hurt the match itself. Because obviously, like early on, they were just beating the shit out of him with like all kinds of stuff and like with all kinds of weapons and everything. And because they've toned that down so much, that didn't happen in this match. So yeah, as I said, it was just like a perfectly acceptable like wrestling match. And then it ended. Although I did like the finishing sequence, like.
Yeah, that was probably the best match of the match.
Dan versus Toshizo, where Dan just like basically just threw everything he had at Toshizo and then finally put him away. Like that was nice. And also the fact that it was Dan himself that got the pin. Because obviously they very easily could have said, well, Sato's the veteran of the team, so he like taps out Toshizo or Minoru or whatever. But they actually, I thought that was a very deliberate move to give it to Dan here.
Yep, for sure. And next up, we had a special singles match. Minoru Suzuki defeated Hokuto Omori in 12 minutes and 4 seconds with the Gotch-style pile driver. This was exactly what it needed to be, and I was kind of shocked just how much Omori got in and Suzuki selling for him, but that was like exactly what had to be. Like, Omori's bulked up. He had to prove that he's ready to be a heavyweight, and I think he really did that here.
Yeah, I also thought that Omori looked like a credible heavyweight in this match as well. Like, I mean, also like size-wise and everything. And yeah, as I said, I was also surprised how much Suzuki was actually willing to give him as well. Like, it was very clear that Omori wasn't going to win, but there were definitely like moments where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's definitely competitive. And I think this was definitely a good start to his kind of journey as a heavyweight. Because I don't think they ever like officially announced it, but I think like at this point, like it's just very safe to say that he is a heavyweight.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Next up, another big match, the Yuma Anzai debut match. Yuji Nagata defeated Yuma Anzai in 9 minutes and 9 seconds with the Nagata Lock 2. Paul, I don't want to be too, like, I don't know, excited, but damn it, we've got something here.
This is a guy. Like,
yeah,
this is
a guy.
Yeah. So we'll see how he develops, but yes, absolutely. Like, because you just see it when he's coming out. Like, obviously, he's like shitting his pants because it's his debut match where he's played out live in the Budokan wrestling Yuji Nagata. I think that would get to literally even the most confident person in the world. But I think otherwise, like, he definitely has ring presence. He has really good size, and yeah, as everyone keeps talking about it, he is handsome and everything. He did show like pretty good kind of like in-ring, like basic in-ring skills. Like, there's definitely like a good, like solid base there already that he can work with to become even better than he is. So yeah, this is a guy. Like, obviously there's still so many other factors that can happen, but if they play this right, like, this could be the difference maker that they've been waiting for a long time. Like, and maybe it's a bit hyperbole, but he might potentially be a bigger difference maker than Kento Miyahara was.
That remains to be seen, but I don't think it's impossible by any means.
Yeah, like I said, like, if things go right, which obviously, like, we don't know yet if it's like a good promo
Nagata
or
doesn't
anything.
Steal him away.
That too. Because that was noticeable after the match as well, where like Nagata was just like, after he like got up, after he got the win, where he just like was just like nodding his head, where he was like, yeah, no, this guy's really good. This is a guy.
Paul, what did you say? What did you tell me he was whispering in Anzai's ears?
Oh yeah, he was probably just whispering into like Anzai's ears, like Kazuchika Okada's like salary. Like, this is how much you could make in New Japan.
Yeah, and I think they're setting him up to be like patterned after Jumbo and Suwama. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
because he did that butterfly suplex,
which looked really good, I have to say.
Yeah. I thought his missile dropkick was great too.
Yeah, I hope that's a young boy stage only move though.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, going 9 minutes against Nagata and losing to the Nagata Lock 2 as opposed to like a crab hold.
Yeah.
I think means something. And honestly,
also
this
the
is
fact that it's halfway through the Budokan show as well, and the first.
Yeah.
No, that one didn't make TV, but like the fact that it's not like the opener, but like halfway through the show is notable as well.
Yeah, and I think this was like one of Nagata's best singles matches of recent months.
It
honestly.
might be his best singles match in all Japan.
It may
At
be.
least in this most recent run.
I liked his match with Ishino. I think that was better than this, but not by much.
No, yeah, exactly. So that's also noticeable. But again, yeah, I think it also helped that Nagata was really motivated.
For sure. Motivated to steal him.
Motivated to steal him.
I mean, what kind of negotiator is Suwama, you have to wonder. Because he got him.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what Suwama should have negotiated himself into? He should have negotiated himself into this match and then should have just had someone else hold the title in the main event, but that's besides the point.
Yes, I agree. And then next up, a special singles match. Yuma Aoyagi defeated the unsuspended Christopher Daniels in 11 minutes and 31 seconds with the Fool. You know, I was actually sort of paranoid that like Yuma would lose here, but
yeah, same.
No. I mean, it became obvious, like, because Daniels started the match working as a heel, pulled out his like old Ring of Honor gimmick where he wouldn't shake the hand. You had to like earn the respect. And then after the match, he like, you know, shook Yuma's hand, embraced him, like raised his arms, like, hey, like look at this guy. He's a great talent and everything. And the match was pretty good, like, you know, like a 3.5 star match. Daniels showing his age a little bit, but he can still hit all his big moves.
Yeah. I think at this point, like Daniels is still like he's still solid. He's obviously like slowed down, but he can very much still like hit his spots and they still look crisp and everything. So I would definitely say this was one of the better matches overall on the show.
Yep, for sure.
And Yuma got like a big win, like on the big show. Not the kind of match that he probably should have had on this type of show, but still, I mean, it was a win.
Definitely. And then so we move on to the All Japan 50th Anniversary Special 6-man tag match. I can't believe this match was put on this high on the card, but it was the first match they showed on TV. So it was Masanobu Fuchi, Atsushi Onita, and Shiro Koshinaka defeating Great Kojika, Yoshiaki Yatsu, and Masao Inoue in 11 minutes and 55 seconds when Fuchi used a backdrop suplex on Inoue. I really like the ending with Fuchi getting the win, but I will say that this went about 2 or 3 minutes too long.
I think that's putting it mildly, like, because...
It really should have ended it when Koshinaka hit that top rope hip attack on Inoue.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was the ending was. But they kept going.
Yeah. I don't know, like this was definitely like a little bit too long. I get kicking off the TV portion with the whole like nostalgia act and everything. That's fine. But you just can't have these guys go like this long because they're not very mobile anymore. And I mean, Fuji is good for his age, but again, he's also like been wrestling longer than like the vast majority of the people on the show have been alive by like multiple decades for some. Like.
Yeah.
Because again, this guy started wrestling in the 70s. He started wrestling, I think, like... Cause
74, I think.
Yeah. So really, for like most of the 45 years that All Japan has existed, he's been there.
Yeah. And so after the match, Fuchi got on the mic and then thanked the people and everything. And then Onita said a few words. And I thought Onita was going to start getting on the mic for a long time. And I panicked, but he did not.
No.
So next up, we had the All Japan World Tag Team Championship. Shotaro Ashino and Ryuki Honda Gungnir of Anarchy, defeating Get Wild, Takao Omori, and Manabu Soya in 16 minutes and 22 seconds with the final event from Honda on Omori. They made their second successful defense. I thought this was the best match of the show.
Easily. Like, it's not even close to me, to be honest.
But it was really good tag match.
Yeah, no, this was very easily like the best. What happened with my voice? Where, like, I thought this, to me, I actually went 4 stars on this match. I actually really liked it, especially the ending. The ending portion to me was amazing of this match, but like it was a strong match overall. I think Omori and Soya showed that they like still have really good chemistry. And I think Ashino and Honda are like growing into a really, really, really good tag team.
Yes, they were in some ways the MVP of the weekend.
Yeah. No, because like back-to-back shows, like they didn't have the best match on the next show, but like that they still like did a lot with the opponents that they were given on there. But did you see the wig that Manabu Soya was wearing when he came out?
Well, yes, I did. And did he not like also change his trunks from his entrance trunks?
I don't remember that. Wasn't he wearing a coat?
Because he was wearing
see his trunks when he came out.
He came out and he was wearing the white and pink leopard print, but he was wrestling in his regular like Congo gear.
Okay, yes, I probably was just wearing like those old tights over his normal tights.
Yeah, Soya, why do you taunt us like this? I think you came out full like Get Wild gear, and then you just wrestled in your current gear.
Yeah. I mean, also
very disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, also with the wig and everything, it was like, you know, where you sometimes have that part of your brain where, like, obviously he couldn't have grown out his hair and dyed it back black within like 2 days.
Yeah.
But it was still like, he's back to his old hair, and I was like, no, wait, that obviously has to be a wig.
No, but I mean, if you're gonna watch any match on this show, watch this one.
Yes, watch this one. This one is very well worth your time. And also, like, this was a really big spot for, like, Honda as well.
Yep.
Because Omori gave him a lot and then obviously, like, took the pin as well. And, again, this really felt like another, like, very deliberate move to, like, give the young guy the big spot on the big show where, like, they get the pin.
Yep, and it worked perfectly in this case.
Yeah, in this case it worked perfectly. Maybe for other matches, maybe a little less, but for this one it worked perfectly.
Well, so we move up next to the PWF World Junior Heavyweight title. Atsuki Aoyagi defeated Tiger Mask in 13 minutes and 23 seconds with the Firebird Splash. That was the failed 4th defense for Tiger Mask, and Aoyagi is now the champion, which everyone expected, I think, because it would have been a disaster if it wouldn't. In some ways, it would have been worse if that would have been worse than Suwama retaining, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So now the Atsuki Aoyagi era of the junior title has started a story, I should say, and then Rising Hayato came out to challenge him. Look, this obviously had limited by Tiger Mask, but I still think this was Tiger Mask's best match in All Japan.
I mean, I would guess so, but that's not a very high bar to clear. I thought the early part of this match was really boring.
I mean,
it was just boring Tiger Mask, like mad work that is like doesn't look good, just it's loose and just no fire, no effort. Like it got a bit better once like Atsuki was like able to like go on offense and actually like show some of his stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess that technically makes it Tiger Mask like best match in the promotion, but it's not due to anything he's done better.
No.
It's due to like Aoyagi, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Just a complete waste of a time or run.
For sure. And I think...
But hey, we hadn't even... And I mean, hey, fun fact, we hadn't even yet seen his worst match of this run. So
no.
We'll get to that later.
But I think it's safe to say, looking at what's coming up next month, Tiger Mask is done in All Japan, thankfully.
Thank God. Yeah, that's long overdue. That was just... Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know why this was here, why we needed to do this. Like early on, we were like, okay, maybe this is something, but like, no. Just turned out it was just nothing. Well, but luckily, I mean, now we have to build an Atsuki, and that's good.
Yeah, and Paul, All Japan got wins over New Japan and AEW now on this show.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's pretty big for a company like this, I'd say.
Yeah, and also the fact that other promotions have to like drop out relentlessly to those two promotions.
Yeah, I have to.
Or even in general, just like you probably haven't looked at like the results of the Shinkiba GCW show.
I have, yes.
Oh yeah, did you notice that like all of the GCW guys lost except for the main event?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
What do you think? I saw that the Strong Hearts match results, and like, you think Shima's going to put over
no,
Nick Wayne?
Not.
Like,
no.
He probably wants
actually,
to
he
bring.
might actually. Yeah, here's the thing. Nick Wayne probably.
He probably wants Nick Wayne for great. Actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
So then we go to quite the surprise for the number one contendership to the Triple Crown that was set up like a week before the show, so we can debate what exactly was going on here. Naoya Nomura defeated Jake Lee in 43 seconds with a spear and a jackknife hold. Paul, some people think this was cut for time. That's very possible, but I'm not completely convinced of that.
Oh, I don't think this was cut for time.
No.
I think this was exactly what they intended it to be.
Yeah, I'm
If
leaning
anything,
towards
they probably cut off some time from the main event, but I think this was exactly what they wanted to do here.
I mean, like, if this went even, say, 15 minutes, like, how does that really heat up Nomura on a week's notice?
Yeah, if you want to have him, like, main event the next night.
Yeah.
No, I think this, and obviously this wasn't the best match on the show because it was 43 seconds, but it was my favorite match on the show.
It was a very good match for 43 seconds.
Yeah.
Also, this already further confirms my theory that Joe was winning this and facing Kento the next day.
Oh, do you think he also would have squashed Jake in 43 seconds?
It might have been like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think, like, they have Joe, and they probably can't get him because he's got his Impact commitments.
Yeah.
So why not just
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I like sort of mean by that? Like, you got it. That's a match that hasn't been done in several years.
And it's probably like your last chance maybe ever to do it.
Yeah. So that's why I really think Joe was because they announced the Triple Crown match was happening before Joe got pulled.
Yeah. So that kind of was the tip off that like something was happening here. But yeah, I still was like, I thought this was like really kind of one of the best booking decisions they did on the whole thing, where they just went like, no, like Jake loses in 43 seconds, like, because that's a memorable thing.
Yeah.
Like that's, because I think that's one of the things, that was like one of my big criticisms of the show, that there was kind of lacking in like memorable thing, like moments. Mm-hmm. And this is one, like you're always going to remember, like maybe not always, but like you're always going to think like, oh, back at like the All Japan 50th anniversary, like Nomura squashed Jake Lee in 43 seconds.
Yes. For sure. And after the match, Jake Lee sent out a tweet saying that he has finally formally disbanded Total Eclipse.
Oh no. Anyway.
Another like All Japan faction unit just slowly disappears before it finally
I mean, at least this time they made an announcement.
Yes.
Like other factions just like, did they ever say anything about Jin? Like did Jin ever, well, to be fair, no, actually Jin kind of actually did have like,
yeah, because
an actual like because Jake turned, yeah.
Yoshitatsu Kingdom.
Yeah, that just disappeared.
Yeah,
they fell out, made up, and then it just went away.
Well, Takayuki Ueki did get injured, but he has returned.
Yeah, I mean Purple Haze.
Yes, that sort of
also
faded away.
Kind of faded away. So yeah, that's really just kind of what they do.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
That's really kind of the cycle of like all the Japan factions. Like faction comes together, and it's like, oh, this looks interesting. Faction kind of does a little bit early on, does nothing, fades away.
Yeah, but Evolution still technically exists, so...
Yeah, Evolution technically still... Nextstream technically still exists.
Yes. But I think we'll get some clarification soon on what Hayato is doing. I liked Nomura's, like, military fatigue, like, camo pants look here much more than his basic black tights that say Real Blood.
Yeah. I find... Like, I'm not sure why he went back to the other look and then on his title match, but yeah, this is a much better look for him because the black tights just, I don't know,
too plain.
They look weird. Yeah, they also look like yoga pants.
Yes, they do.
Like, it's very off-putting. So yeah, this is a better look. So maybe he can change to that one. We'll see. Yeah,
and then in the main event, that the special observers Stan Hansen and Kento Kobashi. Kento Miyahara defeated Suwama in 16 minutes and 35 seconds with a shutdown German suplex hold to win the title for the 6th time, making him the second most winningest Triple Crown champion behind Suwama, who somehow has 8. With at least 2 of those probably not should have happened.
Yeah, including this one.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think it was bad, but it was like a 3.5 special in a main event of the Budokan where they just played their greatest hits.
Yeah.
Now, but then again, what did it have to be? This was all about the Kento posing at the end of the show with the Triple Crown and Kobashi and Hansen standing beside him, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, that's really what it was about, yeah.
Why go balls out for 25, 30 minutes when you have, especially when you have another match the next day? So I'm not too hard on this, but I wouldn't say go out and watch this.
Yeah, no, definitely not. It was just kind of there. It was based, it just never had that, added, because again, it was, it's All Japan biggest shows in, who knows how long. So,
well, I mean, technically those Sumo Hall shows in 2016 and 2017 both drew a little more than this show. Both of them were over 5.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
given restrictions and kind of
weather, this could have been a really big show.
Yeah, and they just didn't wrestle like that at all. Seen more intensity out of these two on, Shinkiba shows.
Yeah.
So that was, really disappointing. I mean, obviously you cannot compare this show to, the 25th anniversary because it's a completely different promotion. They literally ran the fucking Tokyo Dome for the 25th anniversary, so... Yeah. And also a slightly bigger match on that show because, for people that don't know, 25th anniversary was the main event for that one was where Kawada finally beat Misawa for the title.
Right.
Which was also, in a way, disappointing.
Times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Misawa was in, incredibly bad shape in that match going into it. So it was really technically, I think, one of their lesser matches.
Yeah, but still an amazing match.
Yes.
Kawada and Misawa are at their worst. Are just
exactly
still probably the greatest singles match pairing in the history of wrestling.
Yeah. So I mean, I like the show. I will give it props. It had the correct result in every match, which is something you cannot say for All Japan very often.
True. I think you can definitely say that. It's not a bad show. I will still say it was a disappointing show.
Sure.
Because it just didn't, besides the nostalgia factor, it just didn't have that special feeling overall.
I think a better main event would have helped things, obviously.
Would have definitely helped there, yeah. But, yeah. It definitely had the right decision. It was, like I said, except for the tag title match, there was nothing on the show where I'm oh yeah, people absolutely need to go out of their way to see this. Mm-hmm. Everything else is just I mean, if you want to. I guess you can go and watch Nomura and versus Jake because it's 43 seconds.
Yeah.
But then everything else just, I don't know, didn't really feel that different from I don't know, just the All Japan house show, to be honest. It just happened to be in front of 4,780 fans in the Budokan. Yeah. Airing live on BSN TV.
But look, I mean, it was successful. They got on the, Kento was on the cover of Weekly Pro. So, it did all that. I mean, it got a lot of, media attention, I think. Yeah. Relative to what All Japan usually gets. Yeah.
Will be interesting to see if this actually, translates to, increased business now.
Well, I think, I was thinking about that. We'll see what happens, I think, on the next tour.
Yeah.
I think that will be a big a tell.
Yeah. So, I mean, have they announced yet where they're going to do the Omori versus Kento match?
And it makes even more sense why they're doing it. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
So we move on to All Japan #AJPW Mania X or Maniacs. I don't know how to pronounce that.
What you're going to do when the All Japan Maniacs run wild on you.
919 fans. I got to say, for barely 12 hours later, not bad in the weather.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a solid number.
Yeah.
And also why it makes sense that All Japan just continues to run the no cheering shows, because if they continue to draw numbers
they lose 200 fans.
Exactly, that's All Japan can't really afford to give up 200 tickets.
The biggest number in Korakuen with cheering I've seen is 715, so I think that's the cap.
That's the cap, yeah.
Opening match, finally, they have returned. Koji Doi and Kuma Arashi defeated Izanagi and Black Menso-Ray in 2 minutes and 52 seconds with a diving senton from Arashi on Menso-Ray. Perfect squash. Crowd seemed to really be happy to see Kuma Doi again, too.
Yeah, he's kind of getting over. And I have to say, their shirt looks better if it's in a different color other than white, because Kuma was wearing it in pink, I think, and I think that way the shirt actually looked kind of decent.
Mm-hmm. And I think, I'm not sure if we recorded this last time, or we mentioned this last time, or it happened since we recorded last, but Koji Doi is now the king of Kolega.
Yeah. Did he bring out the belt? I don't think he did.
No,
right?
No.
So he's the king of Kolega. So who knows how many commitments he has given them? But I have a feeling that All Japan probably takes priority over Kolega. So
I would think so. That was exactly what it needed to be, and it was set up something we'll talk about later. Atsuki Aoyagi, Christopher Daniels, and Cyrus defeated Yoshitasu, Tajiri, and Rising Hayato in 11 minutes and 45 seconds when Daniels used the best moonsault ever on Tajiri. Somewhat surprising, but it made sense why Tajiri had to end up doing the job here. I like this, actually. I thought it was pretty good for what it was, and they did all the... I think they teased us with the Cyrus moonsault, though, and it was not delivered. So I have to deduct points for that.
Yeah, but then again, you can make those back up because I think Daniel's BME still looks as good as it always has been.
Yeah. He looks a little shakier when he actually does the jumps, though.
Yeah. No, again, he's 52.
Yeah.
The fact that he can still do it like this at 52, having done it for like really long as well. Like
but the arc and the rotation once he takes off the top is still as good as ever.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just amazing.
Yeah. And also, after the show, it was announced, Paul, did you see this? Cyrus and Tsuji Ishikawa have formed a tag team.
Ooh, well, that makes perfect sense, yeah.
The former rivals have come together.
Rivals to lovers.
Yeah. Rival wrestlers united by fate. So I think we're getting the Real World Tag League teams on the show on October 2nd in Korakuen, and I assume that's going to be one of them.
Yes, absolutely. Like that's also why we got like the return of Kuma Doi as well.
Yeah.
And that they're very clearly like starting to set stuff up for the tag league.
Yeah.
We're still gonna need to get like announcements of like what like Yuma and like I guess Yuma and Jake Lee are gonna be a team, and then
I assume
who is actually going to team with Kento.
You know what I think? Okay, we'll just do a quick aside. I think it's
Yuma Ensai?
Well, that's possible. I was going to say Takuya Nomura.
That could also be.
Because they seem to have restarted this storyline of them not getting along but having to team.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility. And, I don't know if you saw, Paul, but the Maltese Ricky Dozan is back in Japan. He's teaming with Tajiri on this indie tag team tournament that's happening in like October. And he's also got a couple of bookings on some indies around Japan. Tag League doesn't get started till November. Do you think him and Tajiri are in?
I could see that. So in that case, is Tajiri gonna get squashed again on the final night of the Tag League wearing a clown mask?
We can only hope.
So, but I really hope that I hope also that he pins Kento again and then again doesn't get a Triple Crown match.
Yeah. But the only question mark is, we'll get to that later. Next up, we had Tiger Mask defeating Black Tiger in 7 minutes and 13 seconds with a double wrist lock. This thing fucking sucked. Just
awful.
Shit.
It was
awful.
So
awful,
bad.
Awful.
Also, whoever put this on Cage Match didn't really investigate which Black Tiger this is, because this was definitely not Rocky Romero.
Well, no. It's whoever that Black Tiger is that's teamed with Takaiwa, I think, recently.
It's definitely the worst Black Tiger.
Oh, absolutely.
God awful. It's a terrible look as well. Like, he looks completely out of shape.
Yeah, he does. I would rather watch the 50th anniversary old man 6-man tag than this match.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this was the worst out of the two shows. This was easily the worst match.
This is absolutely the worst match, I think, in all Japan all year, from a pure like work rate perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, I went dead on Jake Lee versus Suwama, but that was pure like emotional response.
Booking.
Right?
Fuck that. Whereas this one is like purely like who gives a shit about the booking, but it's just an absolutely terrible wrestling match.
Yeah.
It is actually kind of embarrassing to put this on the Korakuen Hall show.
Yeah. But it's over. There are no more Tiger Mask bookings in October. And I think we're done. I hope
we're also done with this Black Tiger.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. Well, he's not booked anywhere either.
Yeah.
So next up, we had Yuji Nagata and Dan Tamura defeated Takao Mori and Ryo Inoue in 6 minutes and 19 seconds with a Death Valley bomb from Dan on Inoue. Yeah, I mean, 6 minutes. These guys could have had a better match with longer, but it was still solid for what it was.
Yeah, got in and out. Didn't really like that Omori was on the losing team here because he was going to challenge later. But I mean, that's really a minor complaint overall.
Yeah. Next up, we had Minoru Suzuki defeating Yuma and Zai in 5 minutes and 37 seconds with a half crab. Again, his second match ever is against Minoru Suzuki in the middle of a card. What can you say?
On the Korakuen Hall show.
Now, Suzuki is a lot less willing to sell for a rookie than Nagata was. Though.
Yeah.
He just brutalized him.
Yeah, this was very clear where that became even more apparent how much Nagata likes Anzai.
Yeah.
Because just compare that match to this match, and it was just like Suzuki was just more like, I'm gonna have to wrestle this fucking young boy. Okay.
I'm sure Anzai still would have gotten more than if this was Suzuki versus Ryo Inoue, though.
Maybe. He probably got like 2 minutes more than Inoue would have gotten, because Inoue probably would have lost in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But definitely there's something here. We'll see what they do with him going forward.
Yep.
Like I really think there's a chance he's in the tag league.
I do too. Yeah. Although
I think there's also a chance he will be in the Champion Carnival.
Oh, for sure. You can give him like 0 or 2 points and it doesn't hurt him at all. It just builds him up.
Yep.
Next up, we had, I guess, the new sort of Hantai army of Jake Lee, Shuji Ishikawa, Yuma Aoyagi, and Hokuto Omori defeating Voodoo Murders, Suwama, Taru, Minoru, and Toshizo in 11 minutes when Ishikawa used the air scissors press, a.k.a. Thez press, on Suwama. Suwama doing jobs 2 nights in a row. Good for him. I mean, this wasn't bad. I mean, there wasn't like cheating. They really have dialed back the Voodoo Murders cheating. I think there was a little bit, but I mean, it was like 1 or 2 spots. And then
it's very clear that they got like a lot of backlash for that, just based on how much they scaled it back.
Yeah. And I can't remember the exact spot, but was it Taru accidentally hit Suwama leading up to it?
Yeah, I think.
And so after the match, like Suwama and Taru were arguing, and it's clearly what they're setting up.
Yep.
So I thought they should have disbanded Voodoo Murders on this show, but at least it's clearly we're heading in that direction.
Yeah, and it's kind of long overdue for that.
Yeah. Should never have.
Yeah, but I do like that we actually do have like a proper like Hantai army for once. Because how long has it been that since All Japan actually had one?
Oh, it's been ages.
Yeah, because
like
everyone was
invaded?
always in a faction.
When Burning invaded?
I guess so, yeah.
You know? Because
Kento has always been in Extreme, so he's never been in the home army.
Yeah.
And same like Jake and Yuma, they were always in like factions, same with Suwama.
Yeah.
So I think I like it that they actually do have like a proper like, this is like just like the guys that are like All Japan guys, not just like faction guys that wrestle in All Japan.
Yeah. Next up, we didn't mention, but after the tag title match on the show before, the Saito brothers came out to challenge and are using Dream Warriors by Dokken as their theme. And
which does rule.
Yes. And so Shotaro Ashino and Ryuki Honda defeated Jun Saito and Rei Saito in 12 minutes and 8 seconds with an ankle hold from Ashino on Rei, which was set up because Rei went for the diving body press, but Ashino moved and caught him in the ankle lock. He tried to escape, but then the Ashino grapevined it, and I thought that was a very good ending. Look, Paul, am I crazy? I went 4 stars on this.
Really? I didn't go that high on it. I liked it well enough, but I definitely thought it was weaker than the match on the previous show.
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know, it was more compact. I I don't know. I mean, look, you could tell that Ashino and Honda were carrying them. I get it.
Yeah.
But I thought that they built it up in such a way, like, it looked like the Saitos might win this, and it wouldn't have shocked me if they did, right? Because you figure they could be rocket packing them.
True, definitely. But yeah, I actually thought, like, as you said, the finish was really nice, where Ashino, like, because sometimes when people, like, roll out of the way, like, out of, like, a dive, they roll really far, but here he, like, basically just moved, like, by just a few centimeters out of the way, and then immediately grabbed the ankle for the finish. Like, that looked super smooth. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, as you said, like, to me, like, probably what kind of hurt it to me a little was, like, that it was just so obvious that, like, Honda and Ashino were carrying the Saitos. But, yeah, I guess it did help that there was a realistic chance that the Saitos were going to win, but to me, this wasn't really, like, a 4-star match.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with the Saitos moving forward, but, I mean, there's still clearly plans for them.
Curious what they're going to do in Tag League, because I think they might have a chance of winning it, actually. And then they might run this back, like, early in the year.
I could see that, absolutely. And then Kumadoi came out to challenge.
Do you think they're going to win, or is like
it's not impossible.
GOA just going to carry that?
I think
the next
GOA
year?
is carrying.
Yeah,
because I think you got the two big Korakuens in January where the tag league. Gun to my head, I think it's Ashino and Honda versus Yuma and Jake on January 2nd.
Yep, probably that is the most likely version as well.
It's the biggest match they could do technically, I think. But, like, I mean, to me, this sort of sealed, like, Ashino and Honda should be, like, ruling this tag division for a while.
Yeah. And it was the perfect decision to put Honda with Ashino. Like, he's learning
even though
it
was a little weird transition from their blood feud to their tag team.
And the fact that Ashino never got revenge on Suwama at all in the slightest. Hopefully, whenever, like, they break up, whenever Ashino and Honda break up, they actually do something.
To be fair to Suwama, it was Ashino that decided not to go after revenge.
True,
right?
he was
he
just
walked
like
out on Dan and Sato.
Oh man, I lost a 6-man tag. Guess I don't hate Suwama anymore. See you later. I will go wear sunglasses now.
Yeah, so they had to call up Uncle Yuji.
Yeah, that was such a bizarre period of All Japan. But look, in the end, at least for this, like, tag team forming, that definitely worked out.
Definitely. I mean, so, yeah, like, I mean, we've still mostly going in the right direction, I'd say. So,
I might actually have them in the running for my tag team of the year just based on what they've been doing.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a backloaded year for them because they got the Kumadoi defense and then they'll be in the tag league. So I think they could definitely shoot up there.
Yeah.
And in our main event for the Triple Crown, Kento Miyahara defeated Naoya Nomura in 20 minutes and 24 seconds with the shutdown German suplex for the first defense of the title that he just won yesterday. I mean, this was incredible. I don't think it was quite as good as their match in September 2019, but it wasn't too far off in all honesty.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting that this was really like Nomura dominating, and then like Nomura, like Kento kicked out of a couple of maximums, and then Nomura went for the infinity, but Kento escaped from that and sort of, that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, these two really showed that they still have like chemistry because.
I mean, this is certainly Nomura's. Yeah. See, I was a little spotty on whether Nomura still has it, but he does.
Yeah. Like, I think he's definitely shown like good performances before, but this was like basically return to form to like what we've seen of him before the injury, basically.
Yeah. He's just wasting away in that basement for Koki Kitahara and capture.
I don't obviously he's probably still gonna do that, but I don't know. I would be very weirded out if this was the end of him in All Japan. Like,
well, he's not booked for anything in October.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to be in Tag League. Like, they're probably going to put Real Blood in there. Yeah.
Or Supercrafter U.
Well, hopefully Watase.
Well, Yuma's going to capture to face him in Nomura and Supercrafter U.
Yeah, and Atsuki as well, like both.
Yeah, I was going to say I couldn't remember. It wasn't Jake. It was Atsuki. No, yeah. So there's still a relationship there. I don't know. It's just very depressing to think that like he finally returns to form and he disappears. Poof, gone.
I just don't want to believe that, so I'm just gonna believe that he is going to be like a regular, and they're just waiting basically to like maybe not like super regular, but like he's there for like tag league and like big
I
stuff,
suppose it
basically.
adds to his aura a bit as the outsider when he's not on every show.
Yeah, exactly. Because if he's just like wrestling like Black Manta Ray, then he's just a roster member.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I guess the ultimate question will be revealed in January, but
A, in January, and B, I think if he's in tag league. If he's not in tag league, then that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah. And then after the match, Takao Omori, big match Omori these days, came out and challenged Kento for the Triple Crown. This is like a 50th anniversary thing because both were mentioned giant. Like, I don't speak Japanese, obviously. But I could tell they were both mentioning Giant Baba multiple times in their promos to each other.
Which makes sense because Omori is kind of the last like Baba trainee. And
Paul, as I follow up, because the match is happening on October 22nd in Sanjo, Niigata, which is Giant Baba's hometown.
Yeah. So that makes perfect sense. Yeah. So it's basically, well, I mean, obviously it's not the Baba Memorial Show because that happened, but that's basically what it is. Like, it's the Giant Baba Memorial, Triple Crown Memorial match.
Yeah. And I'm fine with that, even though the booking was a little weird leading up to it. And I think it'll be great. Like, Omori's proven that he still got it.
Yeah. Especially if he's motivated, which I would very much assume he's going to be for this.
Did I say this on the show last time, that I think Takao Omori is now better than Yuji Nagata?
No, I don't think so. But that's definitely true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange. Like, I mean, both at their peaks, Nagata was clearly like the better worker, but Omori's pretty good. Still pretty good, and he's certainly surpassed. Actually, you know what? I can't wait for the Omori Anzai match.
Oh yeah, because that's gonna happen definitely.
Yeah, that'll be good. So let's do a quick preview of the upcoming stuff. So this Sunday, October 2nd, 11:30 a.m. Japan time in Korakuen Hall, we've got Gaora TV Championship, Doshizo versus Dan Tamura. Paul, who do you got here?
Are they really going to make Dan a double champion?
Then
again, it is the Gaora
double
title.
Gold Dan.
Double gold Dan.
Chant it,
and they do double gold Dan. Double gold Dan. I hope so, because they want to get rid of Voodoo Murderers, right? So why keep
I could see retaining and then him dropping it a little later.
Maybe.
But I'm up in the air. I don't know.
I think if it's a 50-50.
To me, if they do, if it is double gold Dan, seems like he's actually in for a bigger push than I thought they were going to give him.
Yeah, definitely, because
it is the Gaora TV title.
It is the Gaora TV title. It's not like they ever take it seriously.
But Dan was doing nothing for a very long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Next up, Paul.
Well, they never gave Yusuke Okada the Gaora TV title, so
No. Well, we'll talk about him later. Paul, have you seen the title of this next match?
No.
It is the Hokkaido Tourism Ambassador Showdown Special Singles Match.
All right. So can I just take a guess who's in? Is Jake Lee in there?
No.
Okay.
It's Black Manta Ray versus Toru Yano.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because they got a relationship.
This random grab bag that All Japan is getting from New Japan. So you'll get. Suzuki's a freelancer, so he doesn't count. So you'll get Yuji Nagata, Tiger Mask, and Toru Yano, and he can wrestle Black Manta Ray. Okay. Well, sure. Why not?
Why not? I don't know. I'm done with Toru Yano these days and have been for a couple of years, but I am somewhat curious to see him against Black Manta Ray.
Yeah, that is two comedy guys. So
yeah. And next up, we've got a tag match: Suwama and Kono versus Jake Lee and Yuma Aoyagi. Toru Yano obviously wins that match.
Yep. I would literally come on here and I don't know, eat a plastic bag of Black Manta Ray wins it.
Yeah. So Suwama and Kono versus Jake Lee and Yuma. I assume Jake and Yuma win and then Suwama to further the angle.
Yeah, I think that's.
Or do you think, Paul? Do you think Suwama and Kono could be the tag league team though?
They could be, but I could also see that maybe they already break up Voodoo Murderers even before tag league even starts.
I would assume they would break them up on this show though if they did before Tag League, because this is the big like Korakuen show.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, they have to do it before they announce the teams.
Well, I assume they're not. Well, see, here's the thing. Ideally, it's Suwama and Anzai.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to break them up in the second match on the show and then like announce, oh, Suwama's teaming with Yuma Anzai. That's too on the nose of kayfabe breaking.
A little bit. Unless, like, I don't know, Voodoo Murderer
beats
him down and Anzai runs out for the save.
That's possible. Again, we don't know if this is the Tag League announcement show, but generally the big Cork in October before Real World Tag League is when they announce the teams.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm just going off based off history. Next up, the All Japan Pro Wrestling 50th anniversary special match in Korakuen Hall. Kento Miyahara, Takuya Nomura, Ryo Inoue, Yuma Anzai versus Yuji Nagata, Yuto Nakajima, Ryohei Oiwa, and Kosei Fujita. Paul, this could kick a lot of ass, honestly.
Yeah, this could actually be a ton of fun. Depends how motivated everyone is, but there's definitely some potential here.
And this is sort of why I think Kento is teaming with Nomura, but because Nomura like said in like something in the press, he's like, well, I'm going to be the brains of this team. Or something like that, right? You know,
okay, that should be a ton of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say New Japan wins, but if they're announcing it as a 50th anniversary match, like Kento pins one of the Young Lions?
Maybe.
I mean, it would make 1-1 All Japan, New Japan on this show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because Yano's obviously going to win, so Kento can pin. Yeah, actually, that makes sense. Yeah, I think in that case, they probably will get the win, yeah. And he is Triple Crown champion.
It would not shock me if
in a way,
the New Japan team won.
Yeah.
But, like, I got to say, between this and the way that Kojima's been booked in Noah, like, maybe New Japan isn't as quite domineering as we all thought.
No, I think especially because they, like, it really feels like they only have these guys still under contract for, like, loyalty reasons, but they're not really, like, willing to, like, protect them in any way.
Or, well, I mean, if you job them out constantly, they'd probably say something. But, you know.
Well, I mean, apparently they do it for Tiger Mask, though, so that's weird.
Oh, yeah, but I think they wanted to build Tiger Mask up for Atsuki is what I think. But, and next up we have Shuji Ishikawa, Takao Omori, and Izanagi, and Hokuto Omori versus Yoshitatsu Tajiri, Jun Saito, and Rei Saito. I don't know. I mean, it could be okay. I assume one of the Saitos pins is Izanagi.
Maybe, but Omori is challenging for the title, so
he really should win.
Yeah.
Omori pins Tajiri?
Yep, I think that seems like a pretty decent guess as well.
Yeah. And then for the PWF Junior Championship, Atsuki Aoyagi versus Rising Hayato. Paul, I thought they should have actually put this in the main event spot.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to like say anything bad about the main event, but I mean, Atsuki is sort of your guy now, and I don't think it really matters that much the sort of match order of the final two title matches in the show when there's no Triple Crown.
Yeah, especially, yeah. And you do kind of, like, it's definitely because you also want to make this, like, the rivalry.
This is going to be the rivalry.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear where it's going.
Yeah.
I mean, Aoyagi is obviously going to win.
Yeah.
I hope this gets at least 15 minutes.
I would say it gets decent time. Just looking at the rest of the card, there isn't really all that much that I think needs to get, like, a ton of time.
Yeah.
So I think they can give them, like, a really good, like, long match to, like, really establish this as, like, the big thing.
Yeah. And in the main event for the World Tag Team Championships, Shotaro Shino and Ryuki Honda defend against Koji Doi and Kuma Arashi. Paul, I have, like, big expectations for this match, in all honesty.
Oh, yeah.
4 men, all trained in Wrestle 1. They know each other well.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even realize that.
I mean, look at
this
the chemistry
really is the Wrestle 1 memorial
Look at
match.
the chemistry that Ashino had with Soya in that tag match.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
let's hope they didn't bring, like, Wrestle 1, like, audience numbers to the show.
No. Yeah, this is, I think, going to be a good test to see what kind of momentum the company has out of that.
Yeah.
But
I think this should be really good.
Non-Triple Crown Korakuens do not always that great.
Yeah.
Some have been good, but most aren't. So I'm very curious to see about this.
What they actually get here, yeah.
And frankly, Ashino and Honda have momentum of their own, too.
Yeah.
Obviously not the same as Kento, but they've got it. Paul, is it crazy to say that perhaps the Wrestle 1 guys have fared a little better in All Japan overall than Noah?
Yeah, I would say so, because Inaba's still just doing nothing.
Yep.
Like, they've just now started acknowledging that he was actually like a champion in Wrestle 1, which I don't think they've done previously, and Soya is just kind of a fall guy in Congo.
Well, they seem to be doing something with Alejandro now, though.
Yeah.
But, Yoshioka?
Yuki Yoshioka, though, they've done, like, I think they should do more of him because he's amazing, and we'll talk about it, but, like, they're starting to do stuff with him. But, I mean, they're not, like, it's not like the main event in Korakuen shows with just former Wrestle 1 guys.
No. So that is October 2nd, and then there's only a couple of matches announced for the next 2 shows, so we'll just go through them quick. October 22nd in Sanjo, Yoshitatsu debut 20th anniversary match. Paul, can you believe it's been 20 years of Yoshitatsu?
It's 20 years too many.
Yoshitatsu versus Suwama.
To be fair, that is probably about as good as you could have gotten for that, because they do have that weird chemistry.
Yeah, so that could be good. I guess it depends if Suwama's still in the Voodoo Murders at that point. Listen to this 50th anniversary match, Paul. Have you seen this one?
No.
Masanobu Fuchi, Atsushi Onita, Yuma Anzai versus Jinsei Shinzaki, Masao Inoue, and Ryo Inoue.
Oh God, poor Anzai.
I don't know. I think this could be strangely fun.
This could be strangely fun, yeah. Well, basically, it's just a old man admire the new ace, the future ace kind of match, I guess.
Paul, Yuma Anzai's 3rd match of his career. He's teamed with Atsushi Onita.
And Fuji, where
Fuji.
How old is Anzai? Probably 19 or whatever.
22, 23. I
think. So.
Yeah, because he's going through university and he almost done or is done, or just finished.
So by the time Anzai was born, Fuji was already a veteran, a 20-year veteran.
Yeah. Oh wow, 25.
Yeah, that's already past. Oh yeah, true. Yeah, because that's already past the whole. Yeah, because Jesus, yeah, that's already
Fuji was a comedy match guy.
Yeah, Anzai was born after the Noah split, right?
I don't know exact age, but he may have been. No, because that. Oh yeah, or around the same time.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts to think about.
Yeah. And then so our main event: Kento Miyahara versus Takao Omori. It's also Takao Omori's 30th anniversary debut match.
Oh, that same match? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
So I thought it was more for the Baba thing. But anyway, also your special participants in matches that have not been announced: Yusuke Kodama, Seigo Tachibana, and Takuro Niki of 2AW. So that's good. And then we go on to the next day, on the 23rd, in Osaka. All Asia Tag Team title match. Hikaru Sato and Dan Tamura. Forgot to mention it's Yusuke Kodama and Seigo Tachibana who came out after at Budokan to challenge them. I actually think this will be really good, and I actually expect it to be better than the Budokan match.
Yeah.
I think this will be a good first test of their reign. I mean, Dan and Sato will retain, but I think this could be really good.
Yeah. I wouldn't actually rule the GOA team out completely.
Oh, I see.
I wouldn't say it's impossible, because it is the All Asia tag titles. So
Paul, if Dan wins the Gaora TV title, could you see them losing it?
Yeah, I think that makes it way more likely.
Yeah.
Because then it might have just been they wanted to put get as many people as possible on the Budokan, but give Jake the win. Dan the win, so that's why they won the titles there. Then he wins the Gaora title, and then he just kind of does more single stuff from there.
Well, Paul, the All Asia tag titles these days might be one of the most stable titles in the company.
Yeah, they really have been, yeah.
So I think a quickie title change isn't the worst thing in this case.
Yeah.
And special participants: Yuji Nagata, the Bodyguard, T-Hawk, El Lindemann, Issei Onitsuka, Shigehiro Irie, Kano, Minoru, and Oji Shiba. So that's quite the lineup of guests for the show.
Also noticeable which Strong Hats guy is not there.
Shima?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he hasn't been in All Japan in a while.
Yeah, because I think they kind of soured that relationship when he wasn't willing to put over Akira.
Yeah, that may be true. I don't know. I've never heard anything to that extent, although we speculated it at the time. So, Paul, any final thoughts on All Japan before we move on?
Yeah, like I said, the show overall, like the anniversary show overall, I thought was a little bit disappointing, but I think, like especially after the Korakuen Hall show, it still feels like the company has momentum. So let's see if they can actually carry that forward.
Yep. I have pretty much the same feelings, and so here's to another 50 years of All Japan, which could happen, I think.
See you all on episode 400 for the All Japan 100th anniversary.
Oh, it'll be more than episode 400, I think.
Probably, yeah. Gonna do this when we're like, oh wait, oh Jesus, I'm gonna be like 80 something. Oh Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, so will I. Yeah. I'll be 87.
I mean, I still have all 4 grandparents who are all in their mid-80s, so I might actually realistically get there.
Most of my grandparents also lived well into their 80s, so yeah. So we move on to Pro Wrestling in Noah. We'll just go over quickly the couple of shows leading up to the big one on the 25th. So
yeah, and I need to say that because I was in Ireland for the past 2 weeks, I have not seen any of these.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't miss much in all honesty. But there's a couple of good things, though. So on the 15th, I would say, I mean, we had the Daiji Ozawa debut match. Yoshiki Inamura defeated Daiji Ozawa. I mean, he's got potential of his own. He's no Yuma Anzai, but he's tall for a Noah wrestler. I'll give him that. And he looked pretty good, and this is a good debut. So I would hope that they have plans for him.
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen like his match in Nagoya, but what I found interesting is that they mentioned there that his inspiration to become a wrestler was mystical, which I found fascinating.
Well, they can send him on an excursion to Mexico now. Yeah. All right, so maybe that happens. The only other match of note on the show is really the main event, which is Kaito Kiyomiya, Jack Morris, Masa Kitamiya, and Daiki Inaba defeating Keno, Masakatsu Funaki, Katsuhiko Nakajima, and Manabu Soya in 20 minutes and 10 seconds when Kiyomiya pinned Keno with the modified Shining Wizard, where he sort of drives his knee into the head using his hands. That was a really good match. So we move on to the 16th. I dug the opener of Shuhei Taniguchi versus Daiji Ozawa because you've got grumpy veteran Taniguchi. So that was good. Dragon Bane versus Alpha Wolf. I mean, if you like those matches, that's worth checking out on this show.
Yeah, but like I said, like difficulty level impossible. Noah does anything with these guys that doesn't involve each other.
Exactly. And the other two matches you want to check out is the semi-main event of Keno and Shuji Kondo defeating Kaito Kiyomiya and Atsushi Katoge when Keno used the Shining Wizard on Kiyomiya. This was a really good match.
Oh, okay.
And then in the main event, Timothy Thatcher defeated Takashi Sugiura in 10 minutes with a Fujiwara armbar. Now, this got really good towards the end, and then it ended abruptly, but I can sort of get the booking at the same time.
Okay, but like it was overall, like, how would you compare that one to like Segura's like N1 matches? Was it about the same level, or was it like better than the N1 matches?
I think it was a little better, some of those N1 matches.
Okay, well, that's a good sign.
Yeah. And then on the 19th at Yokohama Radiant Hall, again, check out Masa Kitamiya versus Daiji Ozawa, which is funny because they're putting him against all like sort of the rough and tumble guys, which I like.
But from what I've seen, that's not really the style that he's wrestling, though.
No, but I like him beating up a rookie. That's watch Masato Tanaka versus Yoshiki Inamura. Another Inamura job, though.
I was about to say, I didn't even notice that happened. Like, why is he jobbing to Tanaka in a singles match?
Yeah, you didn't have to book this, and it was only the number 2 match on the show. And then the other matches you want to watch are... Well, just watch the whole show because it's really short. Because there's Hideki Suzuki and Dr. Wagner Jr. or Hio versus Segura and Taniguchi. That was decent. Katsuhiko Nakajima versus Daiki Inaba was pretty good. Although you could argue that it probably wouldn't have if they were in the main event, it would have been a really great match. But this was still very good. Kaito Kiyomiya and Jack Morris defeated Keno and Manabu Soya in 16-10 when Morris pinned Soya with the Tiger Driver. That was good. And then in the main event, Timothy Thatcher defeated Satoshi Kojima in 16 minutes and 17 seconds with the Fujiwara armbar, which was another really good match.
It just really feels like they made up for like Thatcher missing all of those singles matches because he couldn't be there for the N1.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just like, I wonder if he actually would have won some of those matches during the N1, and they were like, we still want him to get those wins, so they booked him as singles matches here.
Yep. And then I watched An Innovation on the 21st. I would say watch the opening match because it's the Yasutaka Yano return match against Kai Fujimura. And then the main event, which is the elimination match of Katoge Yoshioka, Yohei, and Alejandro defeating Hayate Yoshinari, Ogawa, and Ridgeway and Yuya Susumu. But the other stuff, especially like the 5-way match of like Ninja Mac, Alejandro, Dragon Bane, Alpha Wolf Extreme Tiger. It's 11 minutes long. It's just a spot fest. And Kotaro Suzuki and Shuji Kondo went to a draw, and it was pretty dry. 30-minute draw.
That's too bad. Because I saw that, and I was like, there's really only two ways that this could have gone. Either this was amazing, or this was just boring.
Suzuki wrestled in a t-shirt the whole 30 minutes.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. Yeah. I feel like Suzuki, it doesn't even look like Suzuki's hurt, but I just feel like he doesn't want to put in the effort these days.
Yeah, I think this is really like with the whole, like, Paris Demal, the Japon thing.
He's in it, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I mean. Like, it just really feels like it's just kind of brought out the laziness in him.
Yeah.
And it's still weird that Ikoto Hidaka has basically, like, it's the only guy that disappeared completely.
Yep.
When, like, they did the Los Perros, like, leave Noah angle, and then they came back. Because he's the only one that hasn't come back.
Yep. Well, where's Hao, who also lost a...
He hasn't even wrestled, so...
No, I looked up the cage match. He hasn't wrestled at all. So I think something's happening with that.
Yeah.
So we finally go to Grand Ship 2022 in Nagoya, Pro Wrestling Love Forever Outbreak. Manabu Soya defeated Daiji Ozawa with the crab hold. And Paul, I guess this was your only match with Ozawa you've seen so far, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked what I've seen. He has good size. He seems incredibly motivated, and he's very agile as well. Like, that's also why I mentioned that, like, Mystico was his, like, motivation to get into wrestling. Like, he is wrestling a lot more like that as well. Like, he actually does, like, a lot of high-flying stuff for, like, a guy his size. Like, he seems incredibly athletic. So I'm really curious kind of what path he's going to take. So that's very interesting. Especially, like, I don't think Hasnoa really ever had a guy his size that is this, like, athletic, like, obviously athletic.
No, not his size. As a heavyweight. I mean, you could talk about like Marufuji.
Absolutely. But he's way taller than Marufuji.
Yeah.
So because for Marufuji, obviously, like, Marufuji started off as a junior and then became a heavyweight, whereas this guy, like, you can't even pretend as like a young boy that this guy is.
Taller than half the heavyweights in the company.
Yeah.
So and the next up we had Nosaru Rongai and Eita defeating Yasutaka Yano and Kai Fujimura in 4 minutes and 3 seconds. With a low skyface dropkick from Eita on Fujimura. I don't know. Nosawa sold for the young guys. I'll give him that. I mean, it was short and just a squash, sort of, basically.
Yeah. Did you see that Eita's probably, like, well, not maybe done with Dragon Gate, but is probably, like...
Similar to what Naruki Doi is doing?
Yeah, where he's basically becoming, like, a freelancer. Like, I don't think they've announced that he's actually becoming a freelancer as well. Like,
no.
Don't remember that. But... seems very obvious that that's where it's heading, so we're definitely, like, gonna see more of Eita, not less.
Yep.
Which in general I would think is good, but given the Eita that we generally get in Noah, it's like,
I was gonna say, well, who knows. And next up, Masa Kitamiya and Yoshiki Inamura defeated Muhammad Yone and Akitoshi Saito in 9 minutes and 47 seconds with the Muso on Yone. Good for Inamura, finally getting a win over a veteran. I mean, this is actually kind of good, I thought, for what it was.
No. Like I said, I do like the Funky Express. So.
And Kitamiya and Inamura are getting a title shot, right?
Title shot?
Who was it?
No, Kitamiya is getting a national title shot.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
I was thinking they were getting him ready to challenge.
No, I don't think anyone has challenged.
No, that's what I was trying to think. So next up, we had Ninja Mac, Extreme Tiger, and Alejandro defeated Tadasuke, Hajime Ohara, and Hiroki in 11:20 minutes and 24 seconds when Tadasuke got disqualified for ripping off Alejandro's mask.
Yeah.
Which was a shame because I thought this match was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I actually liked this one as well. I was surprised about this one. But no, everyone kind of went in there and like they did their stuff and it was actually a ton of fun.
Yeah. And obviously like Alejandro is probably going to keep feeding with Kongo because now he says he wants to team with Dragon Kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said that, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's going to be... Because, yeah, I remember that he would... Like, didn't he challenge Dragon Kid originally? So I guess we're going to see, like, something with him teaming with Dragon Kid then on the joint show.
Yep. Next up, we had Naomichi Marufuji, Jack Morris, and El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. defeating Masato Tanaka, Masaki Mochizuki, who is back, and Daiki Inaba in 13 minutes and 49 seconds when Jack Morris hit a very nice shooting star press this time.
Redeemed himself.
Yes. This was good, I thought.
I really expected him to challenge after he got the win here, but obviously they had other plans.
Well, I don't think you can rule that out before the end of the year.
Well, I mean, it depends who's going to be the champion, but let's talk about that later.
Yeah. In the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title, Atsushi Kotoge and Seki Yoshioka defeated Yoshinari Ogawa and Chris Wedgway in 26 minutes and 56 seconds with a buzzsaw kick from Yoshioka on Ogawa. Big win there for Yoshioka.
Yep.
And they are the new champions. I thought this was pretty good. Like I said, I love like watching Ogawa and Ridgeway pick apart someone's like leg or arm or something, and of course that was a big part of this match. Although I thought the last couple of minutes weren't maybe as exciting as I was expecting. I don't know. What did you think, Paul?
No, I actually loved this match, and I actually thought the finish was pretty good as well, because it really was it was a very one-sided match because it really was just Ogawa and Ridgeway dominating pretty much for the entire time. And even during the finish, like, it very much felt like Yoshioka just barely managed to, like, escape with the victory. But I also thought that he did really well, like, in terms of, like, his selling and everything after they, like, picked his leg apart. I also liked that Ogawa and Ridgeway, when they were working, like, Yoshioka and Kotoge over, that they didn't work the same body part on both of them, because they worked Yoshioka's leg and Kotoge's arm.
Yep.
And then Kotoge was just like, hey, how about I just try to fuck up my arm even more by just taking a plancha to the outside where there's no one there. So that was cool. And no, I thought overall this was a really good match. Like, I'm sad that Ridgeway and Ogawa lost the titles, but this is a really good team to, like, follow it up as well. So I think we're gonna get more, like, after the GHC, like, junior heavyweight title, like, early on in the year was, like, pretty dire. Like, I think they've kind of, like, turned that one around and actually made it, like, one of the more, like, interesting titles in the promotion.
For sure. And so, I am looking, like, I'm sad to see it go, but I mean, they put it on the right team. Yeah,
absolutely. Like, this felt like a very earned win, and yeah, you could also feel like Kotoge and Yoshioka being, like, happy that they won the titles and everything. So yeah, it was really cool.
Next up for the GHC Junior title.
And actually, just real quick, do we want to talk about who challenged afterwards?
Oh, right. Oh, my God. I totally forgot who challenged now.
Oh, you did? Oh, Tadasuke came out in high 69.
Oh, that's right.
And Tadasuke actually bloodied up Kotoge. I think Kotoge was already bleeding, I think, from him taking that, like, spill to the outside. But then Tadasuke basically just, like, opened it up even more, just completely bloodied up Kotoge and actually, like, wiped the blood, like, into his own hair, which was really cool. Like, I think I've talked about it before, how much I, like, Tadasuke really has improved to me when he just shows it more and more, where he's just this, like, shit-eating, just, like, bully who will just, like, beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, that will be a good match, I think.
Yeah.
And then for the GHC Junior Heavyweight Championship, Hayata defeated Yohei in 23 minutes and 45 seconds with a headache for his sixth defense.
Oh, no, we were missing the tag team title match.
Oh, oops. For the GHC tag team titles, Takashi Sugera and Satoshi Kojima defeated Hideki Suzuki and Timothy Thatcher in 18 minutes and 41 seconds with an Olympic slam from Sugera on Suzuki. Another job from Suzuki. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this to me was the best match on the show, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I love this match. Actually, it is actually really close between this and the All Japan, like, which one I actually preferred. between this and the All Japan tag title match on the Budokan show, because I thought both of those were excellent.
Yeah. I mean, I just love like Suzuki and Thatcher just sort of like trying to like totally tear their arms out.
Yeah.
And then them fighting back and everything.
Yeah, I thought they did that really well. They also did the miscommunication spot between Kojima and Sugiura in the match, and then they redeemed themselves later. That was nice. Because once they like did like at first when they did the miscommunication spot, I was like, oh, are Thatcher and Suzuki actually going to defend the titles? But then when they actually redeemed themselves later, it was kind of obvious that like, oh yeah, they're going to win the titles. Yeah.
See, I'm like, and Sugiura and Kojima are going to keep doing the bickering partners thing. That's the whole like, can they coexist? As this whole like storyline with them in this team.
Yeah. Which, if you do it really, is something that works pretty well.
Sure.
So, but I am sad to see the Thatcher and Suzuki team go.
I mean, they never even get a successful defense.
No, which I didn't even realize that they never even got a successful defense. Yeah.
Yeah, because then they won, and then the N1 happened, and Thatcher wasn't around, and I don't know. Maybe they'll trade the titles back and forth.
Yeah, I mean,
because I think this rivalry still has juice.
Yeah.
Because Thatcher has singles wins over both of them.
Yeah, and the Thatcher Suzuki team also still like is something they should keep together as well.
And Paul, Kojima is a former IWGP Tag Team Champion, a former World Tag Team Champion in All Japan, a former All Asia Tag Team Champion in All Japan, and a former NWA World Tag Team Champion, and now a GHC Tag Team Champion.
Yeah. Which of these would you say is the least prestigious one? Is it the All Asia or is it the NWA one?
I was gonna say. Well, I mean, the NWA was
when
once
he won
very
it,
prestigious.
yes, when he won it.
It was probably at their low point.
Yeah, because he won it from like Jack Stane and was it
Conway? Maybe?
I think it was, yeah.
Or Crimson?
No, I think it was
Crimson Jack Dane.
It was Jack Stane and Rob Conway, yeah. Because there was like, what did they call it? The Iron Kingdom or whatever?
Yeah, something like that.
But
so yeah, I mean, one of the most decorated tag team champions in history.
Yes, absolutely. Like he won like most of them.
Yeah.
So I am curious though how long they're going to carry those titles now.
I don't know. I mean, I could see it either being like a long time or very short, right?
Yeah, because they've really, for like the heavyweight titles, they have been kind of like hot potatoing them around, like both of them. Well, not both of them. I kept forgetting about the national title, but I guess that's the problem with the national title.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was injuries too, right? Muto had to vacate.
Yeah. Muto had to vacate, like, and yeah. Fujita caught COVID, but then like they still did it later on. I mean, obviously, and then they had to. I mean, I would assume that they always had the plan to give it to Suzuki and Thatcher, but I mean, they kind of were like forced into it when Elgin pulled an Elgin. So.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about the Elgin pulling an Elgin. Yeah. What a year. So next up, we finally get to the GHC Junior Heavyweight title match. Hayata defeated Yohei in 23-45 with the headache for the sixth defense on this reign. This one, you know what? Honestly, this wasn't too bad. I just think it went 5 minutes too long.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I'm just done.
Oh, this reign has to end.
So done with Hayata. Don't want to see him in singles titles matches anymore.
Yeah.
It has been. Because, yes, okay, this is maybe just the sixth defense in this reign. But there wasn't really all that much of a difference between, like time difference between this reign and his previous reign. So it just feels like he's been holding his title forever now. And
it's a long reign.
Same match.
Loses.
Every single
short reign,
time.
Loses, wins it. Yeah. It's, well, Ninja Mac came out after the match and they have to put it on
just
him.
Squash him in like 30 seconds. That would actually be something. They're not going to do that, but I really hope they're actually going to put it on Ninja Mac because that's the most exciting thing they could really do right now.
Absolutely. I think they will.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave him a contract.
Yeah.
So obviously they've got plans for him.
Yeah, and he's super over.
He's so over. He did the backflips, like when he left the ring after the challenge, did the backflips to the back.
Yeah, that was cool too.
Yeah.
And there's obviously because that's the other thing with like Hayata, who's been holding it for so long. There's no fresh matchups left for him anymore.
Yeah.
So put it on Ninja Mac, and you have a ton of fresh matchups that he can like work through and everything.
Well, also now that you've got Noah guys coming to the States, Paul, did you see they're doing Josh Alexander versus Katsuhiko Nakajima?
Yeah, that's gonna rule. That's gonna be great.
And with Ninja Mac as the GHC Junior Champion, you can get some title matches in the States.
Yeah,
I think
can do some scrambles and GCW or whatever.
Well, I think I don't know. I was gonna say maybe they'll treat the title with a little more respect if it's defended in the States, but I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
And then we go to the semi-main event, the Pro Wrestling Love Forever 2 Outbreak match. Keiji Muto and Kazuyuki Fujita defeated Masakatsu Funaki and Katsuhiko Nakajima in 20 minutes and 35 seconds with the Shining Wizard on Muto from Nakajima in the least surprising result on the show. Yeah. Although they had like video packages before the show and they sort of played up like the history of Muto and Funaki. They showed like pictures of them training in the New Japan dojo, and they played up the history of Nakajima and Muto. Because like All Japan was the first place that Nakajima landed after World Japan folded.
Yeah, no, there was definitely plenty of history here. So I thought they played that one up nicely. The match itself felt a little bit too long. I did enjoy it whenever I actually enjoyed the exchanges between Fujita and Nakajima.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. I agree. They were good.
Yeah.
What do you think of Nakajima doing the handspring elbow and like the bulldog?
I thought that was cool. Because again, these are these are nostalgia matches. Again, these are retirement matches. I don't mind it
as
here.
long as he doesn't start doing it regularly.
Yeah, exactly. If this becomes now Nakajima's finisher, then I will have an issue with that. But
that wasn't exactly the best looking handspring.
No, I think it's clear why he's a very, let's say, ground-based wrestler.
Yeah.
But I did like Fujita, I basically when he had Nakajima pinned, not pinned, but on the ground, and then Nakajima started slapping him, and then Fujita pretended that he was knocked out. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I mean, it had moments, but it just was too long because there's a long period. I felt not only a few minutes into the match where Muto just laid on the ground and they worked him over.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything and stuff, right?
So Fujita carried this match.
Yeah, definitely. And then, so in your main event for the GHC Heavyweight Championship, Kaito Kiyomiya defeated Keno in 26 minutes and 41 seconds with the modified Shining Wizard.
See, it's different from the previous match because it's a modified Shining Wizard, not a Shining Wizard.
In 26:41, Keno fails on his first defense, but Kaito finally wins the GHC title again and now begins his second reign. I thought the match was good, but it was not compared to the last couple of matches. No. And I've said I think Keno versus Kaito is one of the best series of matches in wrestling in the last 5 years. I thought the last couple of minutes were pretty good, but not blow away. But it just felt, I don't know what it was. It just felt they didn't have the energy of their other matches early on, I felt. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it just felt really weird because normally, as you said, there's a lot of energy. You can feel kind of the animosity between these two. They just always go balls to the wall at the beginning, and they just didn't really do that. They just, I don't know, it didn't feel like a rivalry match. It just felt like a random match, more or less. It was very bizarre.
Do you think Keno was having a case of boo-boo face?
I mean, maybe.
I don't even think it's necessarily against him personally, anything against Kaito, but it's just I'm the champ and I just lose it again.
Yeah.
And I'm the third reign or fourth reign in a row with 0 defenses.
I mean, maybe it's also
because Keno felt so hot. Yeah.
I mean, what I will maybe say is that might also be I don't know, Kaito just doesn't really feel comfortable in the style. He hasn't really because we've talked about this before. Kaito's big problem is that he hasn't figured out his own way. Because he was doing Misawa cosplay and now he's doing Muto cosplay, but we still haven't really seen Kaito Kiyomiya.
Right.
So maybe that's something that is holding him back right now. Well, hopefully it's because he's actually trying to figure out who Kaito Kiyomiya is.
Yep.
But it's definitely it definitely hurt this match, and I just don't like that he's just doing the Shining Wizard now.
Well, Paul, I'm going to say this. Him doing the Muto pose, kissing the fingers and the Shining Wizard actually bothered me more than the post-match. What did you think of the post-match?
The post-match was not great either. I didn't see it in real time because I had to check out of the hotel and go to the airport. But going back and looking it over, it's just your typical Fujita bullshit that is kind of to be expected. But yeah, it does hurt that Kaito is just really doing this whole fucking Keiji Muto Jr. stuff. Especially if Keiji Muto is in the previous match. If Muto was already retired and he does it as a homage or whatever, I probably have less of an issue. Whereas we just saw Muto do that, and then you do it in the very next match. Like, it's very weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. That's why it bothered me so much, even more so than the post match.
Yeah, because like I think at this point it is actually starting to hurt Kaito in a way.
Yeah, and the post match was, Fujita coming out with a can of Sapporo, I believe it was, and he was acting like he had had a few.
Which is probably true.
And he dumped the beer on Kaito's head.
Yeah.
Which he's done to other wrestlers too, right?
Yeah.
Has he not?
Yeah. It's like a regular thing that he's done. Because they actually did that in the setup for Nakajima versus Fujita, where Nakajima poured beer over Fujita's head.
Right. Oh, yes, I remember that now, yeah.
So, yeah.
Paul, I got to say, overall, this show was not up to some of the more recent Big Noah shows.
I mean, what I will say...
Maybe because of the top two matches were a little...
I actually really liked the show. Like, I thought, like, after... Okay. No. There's a caveat there. I really liked this show up until after the tag title match. Yeah. I thought it was an excellent show. Like, after the tag title match, like the heavyweight one, I thought this was on pace to be, like, a potential, like, show of the year contender if all of the, like...
Right.
Stuff at the top of the card delivered, and
I thought Keno and Kaito were going to deliver another match.
Yeah, exactly. In that case, I probably would have considered it, but as it is, I thought it was a good show overall. But just the stuff at the top of the card just didn't deliver for me. Yeah.
And then so coming up, we got matches on, I believe it's the national title on October 15th in Sendai, which is Funaki versus Kiyomiya. I think Kiyomiya should
absolutely win that Funaki reign.
But he got the win in the N1, so I'm wondering if he's not.
Like, what does the really do for Fujita for Funaki at this point?
Yeah, there's nothing. No. But I feel like he could probably hold that title as long as he wants to. I don't know.
Does he even really want to hold it anymore? That's the other thing. Like, I don't really feel like he even wants to have this title.
To me, Kiyomiya is like perfect for the title right now.
Yeah.
He's been great, and he's like, not a top guy, but like a credible upper mid.
No, but he's also kind of peaking in ring right now, so I think it's like the perfect time to like give him a singles title. Like, he's never had a singles title, because he's a heavyweight. So I think this is like the perfect moment to like give him a singles title reign.
For sure. And then there's a big show on October 16th, Demolition Stage at Fukuoka International Center, which nothing's been announced for, which I don't think anything's been announced for, which is sort of surprising.
I haven't seen anything.
But because 2 weeks later, we've got Pro Wrestling Ariake Triumph, The Return, Pro Wrestling Love Forever 3 Triumph at Ariake Arena, not Coliseum, which is a big building. It's like 16,000, I think. And it will have cheering.
Yeah.
And so what will probably be the semi-main event was Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tomoyaki Hanma, and Togi Makabe versus Keiji Muto, Naomichi Marufuji, and Yoshiki Inamura.
Yeah, that should be. I mean, with cheering, that has the potential to be like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But do you think Inamura's eating a high fly flow here?
Maybe. Or Hanma
eats a shining wizard.
Yeah. And I mean, technically, I think is Hanma a bigger jobber in his promotion than Inamura is?
Yeah. I think Hanma is a bigger jobber.
Yeah. And then in your main event, it will be Kaito Kiyomiya versus Kazuyuki Fujita for the GHC Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
Paul, do you really think Fujita's winning? I don't think so.
I don't know.
You can never say
never.
You can
never say never.
60-40 Kaito.
Yeah, I know that if he can actually get past Fujita, then I'm really convinced it's like all stations go like full steam ahead with Kaito Kiyomiya.
If Kaito loses this, he is completely permanently fucked.
Especially in a venue this big.
There's no coming back from that one.
In a venue this big too.
Yeah.
So, especially because it's Fujita, so you know that if he beats him, it will be like in a very like definitive fashion as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if this would have been the match that I would have booked.
I feel building. Like the modified Shining Wizard taking out Ironhead, there's a story there.
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
So, I don't know. I'm still leaning towards Kaito at this point.
Yeah, but you'll never know. Like, we'll see. Yeah. I definitely think it has a chance to be a really good match, though.
Yeah.
Especially if you get cheering.
Yes, definitely. I think it will be good. So that's sort of upcoming in October for Noah. And Paul, I forgot to put this on the run sheet, but Paul, the forbidden door to the Ark has been
actually
opened.
About to say the same, because I also just remembered that this happened, so I was actually also just going to mention it. Yeah, the forbidden door is open.
Yeah. Sting will be at Yokohama Arena for the Great Muda Final Bye Bye?
Yeah, Final Bye Bye
show or whatever. Final Bye Bye. I think they're teaming together, but I'm not sure. I mean, they're in the same match. I just don't know if they're on a team or not. But that's going to be big. That will be Sting's first match in Japan since 1996.
Oh, wow, that's wild. Like, he really, 1996, I would have thought maybe like he had like something since then, but I can't think of anything.
No, because he stopped wrestling in 96 for like a year.
Oh, yeah, true. And then, he obviously wouldn't have gone to Japan like in like 98 or whatever.
No, and he was out in late 98 with an injury into early 99.
Yeah.
And then he just never got back. I'm surprised he was never on like a Hustle or one of those Money Mark shows.
Like, Hustle also seems like someone that would have done like Sting versus fake Sting or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm excited about that. Does Sting jump off of something?
I mean, maybe. Which building was that in again?
Yokohama Arena.
Oh, Yokohama Arena, okay.
Oh, there's not that much to jump off.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, maybe. maybe that's his requirement. It's just like, I need something to jump off of.
But I can't wait. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be really good. Like, I'm actually looking forward to that. Like, really curious what match they're actually going to do that. If that's just going to be like a straight up tag match or if like something else there. But I mean, Muda and Sting are just very much tied to each other.
Yeah, and Sting was Sting never had like an extended run in Japan, but he was always very over.
Yeah.
So
I'm wondering if people still remember him though, because like you said, it's been a while.
Yeah, but so that's something to look forward to. And then we'll end the show with some quick DDT talk. Paul, on September 25th in the KOD Openweight title match, Kazusato Higuchi defeated Konosuke Takeshita with the Buchikamashi in 18 minutes and 57 seconds. It's sort of like a running headbutt. Yeah. Paul, this was incredible. Like 4.5 stars, match of the year contender.
Yes, absolute match of the year contender. Like really high up there.
Yeah.
This was amazing. It was so good. And like, okay, because I actually only watched this match from the entire show. Was this a cheering show?
Yes,
it was. Okay, so it wasn't like they didn't actually make the crowd just break. It was actually a cheering show. Okay.
Yeah.
Because this was just amazing. Like just non-stop action and just some absolutely insane stuff. Like that noise when Higuchi hit the post.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus
and then he used a lot of headbutts too.
Yeah.
And I just thought the finish was so awesome because like it's like the running headbutt, I guess, the Buchi Kamarashi Mashi, and then he just collapses on Takeshita and pins him.
Yeah.
And Takeshita got busted open.
Yeah.
Hard way. Like that's obviously some AEW. Like he's been cursed. He just can't help but bleed.
Yeah, but also Takeshita's like he's so good. Just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and like he said, there's a great story here. Takeshita said he was going to take the KOD title with him to the U.S.
Yep.
And then Higuchi stopped him, and like even more, like when Higuchi won the title, and he had that like he was in the ring with the flag that Takagi gave him and everything. It's like he felt like the man, but this even made him feel like the man even more.
Yeah. I mean, this is very much. I mean, talk about like putting a guy over, like establish him in his first like singles reign, like major title reign, where like he beats both of the like aces of the promotion.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate, like no, this is a proper push. Like this is really like make or break for Higuchi now.
Yeah, It's funny though, with him in the main event and them going full tilt, I feel like there's an even bigger disconnect than there was before between the main event
Yes.
and the mid card.
I looked at some of the rest of the card and I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
I can see why you recommended like only watch like the main event, because I looked at the rest of it. And
Okay, I'll say this: Cara Noir versus Yuki Ueno was actually good,
Oh, okay. Well, I guess.
and Cara Noir's over.
Yeah, I mean,
Now,
no,
how long he
obviously,
can stay
yeah.
over, I don't know.
Because that's the thing with him. He's always over when he comes up because that entrance is amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's definitely, like I said, it's diminishing returns of him. So we'll see.
Look, the match was pretty good. I mean, well, obviously Ueno was
Yeah,
in
exactly.
there too, but Noir carried his end too, I thought.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, there are always
And,
guys that just find like a second gear when they're in Japan. Because I wasn't really a big fan of like Chris Brox's work either before he came to Japan. So
Right. And then, after the main event, Shinya Aoki has one of those right to challenge things. And then he just came out and said, hey, to Higuchi, sort of like reminding him. But then Yukio Sakaguchi came out, and then that's like the October Korakuen main event, which got another crazy match, probably with more insane strikes.
What I actually really feel like as well, like watching Higuchi here, like he feels so different than every other champion in Japan right now.
Yeah.
Like this is something like very, like he has just that kind of unique aura that really like no one else has right now.
No, for sure.
So,
And that's why I'm going to watch DDT.
I think
more
we
regularly.
can
Well,
definitely
I usually watch the big shows,
keep up
but
with the Higuchi title
we will
matches.
definitely be keeping
Yes.
up with the Higuchi title matches.
Yeah.
And then finally, the D-Ou Grand Prix lineup.
It's out of all of
This
the
got quite-
lineups,
this
this
got
is
quite the
certainly one of them.
reaction. The A block consists of Yuki Ueno, Naomi Yoshimura, Joey Janela, Tetsuya Endo, Daisuke Sasaki, and Ricky Shane Page.
Why?
The B block consists of Kazusada Higuchi, Chris Brooks, Mao, Yuji Hino, Cannon, and Yuki Onaya, which actually is pretty good. And it's great to see Cannon in there, I think.
Yeah. Like that B
That would
block,
be great.
actually, I like that one.
Yeah.
A block, I like half of it.
Paul, Takagi has one of the weirdest tastes in foreigners
Yeah.
of any Japanese promoter, just in terms of like, he's found, like, I mean, he got Brooks, right?
Yeah.
And has turned him into something. He had
Mike Bailey.
Chris Bailey. Mike Bailey, yeah. Mike Bailey. Who else did he? Well, he brought in Ricky Starks too, and but Starks wasn't quite established. But I will give him points because obviously, like, you know what he's become. Who else has been? In
Who was it
DDT?
again? I
Well,
forgot his name. He was in like
Oh, Joey Ryan.
no, not
but,
Joey Ryan. It's Joey Ryan was there too.
Yeah,
that's
and
unfortunate.
Takagi seemed to love Joey
Yeah.
Ryan too, right?
But who was that other guy? He was like in Evolve as well.
Andrew Everett.
No, I don't remember his name now. But he's kind of gone away. He did like a yoga thing. I don't remember.
I'm totally drawing a
Yeah.
blank on that. I never really watched Evolve. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. That A block looks a little dire.
Yeah. I mean, like Ueno versus Endo should be good.
Yeah. So what do you think the finals are?
Finals of, I could actually see them go and put Higuchi in the finals.
Yeah.
And then I don't know out of the A block comes out of
You
that.
want my take? I'm gonna go Hino versus Yoshimura.
Hino was Yoshimura,
Hino
really
wins.
interesting.
And Hino wins.
Yeah, Hino versus Higuchi is gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't have a good feeling for like that. I think that B block, I think there's also multiple people that could come off that. Hino, I think, is a good shout. I think Higuchi, I think, actually has a chance. I think Mao has a chance to come out of that. Whereas for that A block, I'm just like, I don't know.
Endo.
'Cause it's so random.
maybe?
It's so random, the people that are in there.
Yeah.
Are they gonna? I could
I don't
see
know.
Janela getting to the final.
Yeah, Takagi loves Janela.
Yeah.
They put GCW shows on Wrestle Universe. You know,
Janela versus Hino actually is a weird match. Actually, I would be kind of interested in seeing that.
Yeah. Well, he'll take Hino's offense and bump.
Yeah,
him,
exactly.
At least say whatever else you want about him. He'll do that. So yeah, that is the D-Ou Grand Prix 2022. We'll see if I have any enthusiasm to cover it or not, because I don't know at this point.
Yeah, we'll see. Like if there's like anything that sticks out, I think we're gonna cover it.
Yeah, for sure. So any final thoughts before we head out, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Noah is on the right path, and I think we'll see very definitively at the Ariake show what path they're on.
Yeah, I agree, and I would say All Japan is on the right path, and
definitely things are looking up for both of them, but a little bit of anxiety still for Noah.
Sure, just based on previous booking patterns, and it's all right? Been burned by both companies many times. And I guess I have a plug before we go. I was on the 5-star match game with the legendary wrestling podcaster Joe Gagné as the host, on with Jojo Remy and Daniel Makabe.
Yeah, that's an all-star lineup.
And the topic was 90s Puro. So you can listen to that show and see if I made an ass of myself or not, or we'll see. You should give it a listen. It's on its own feed. It's on the Voice of Wrestling podcasting feed too. So check that out. And it's a short listen. It's like 32 minutes long. So listen on your way to work or something. Anyway, for Paul Vosh, I'm Gerard Trillo, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.